Hey, it's Nay. And welcome back to Nay's Little Garden and Home. So, I want to talk to you guys. I've told you guys about the pepper varieties I want to grow and the tomato varieties I want to grow. However, I want to start talking about priorities. I got this new book, by the way. So cute. It's a journal. Just take this off, but I just think it looks cute. Anyway, it's so cute. It's a journal, but I'm going to be using it for all types of stuff, and I've already started writing garden stuff in there. So I just want to talk about like my top pepper and tomato varieties, like the ones I intend to prioritize in terms of numbers, right? So we're going to skip jump right into it, but the baseline idea is about 2 plants of all. So I have 18 tomato varieties and 16 pepper varieties right now, but we're about to put an order in for Matt's peppers. My husband already picked out the peppers that he wants to grow, so there's going to be about 19 pepper varieties, and I've already put spacing for that. So essentially everything on here already has enough space for 2 plants, taking up just my grow bags and 1 raised bed. Insane. So I have my top 5 varieties for both peppers and my top five varieties for tomatoes that are gonna have about 4 to 5 plants. And I'll explain to you the reasonings why behind what ones I've specifically chosen. And of course, I do reserve the right that if I end up with, so like this does not include my green stalks. So all this stuff I'm telling you does not include my green stalks. What is gonna grow in my green stalks, I still have not really fully made a decision. I'm definitely gonna grow some dwarf tomato varieties and stuff like that. And someone did ask for me to talk about some of the dwarf varieties and smaller varieties that are good to grow in the green stalks. I'm gonna talk about the ones I've definitely grown in there that were fine, and then I'll talk about some I'm going to be growing in 2026 that I think are gonna do well. So when I'm saying these 18 tomatoes and this 19 pepper plants, just know that I'll be growing even different stuff in my green stalks, and I'm gonna be moving my green stalks so they get better light. So yeah, the top varieties pertaining to my tomatoes, the top 5, which are going to be 4 to 5 plants each, are the bread and salt. So the bread and salt tomato is like this ox heart tomato that's really very, 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 very like true red. And they're a pretty decent size, and they're delicious, and they're reasonably meaty. I would say they're quite meaty, and it was decently prolific for me. I feel like I keep going back and trying to figure out exactly what certain tomatoes were. So like this didn't get the best. I lost tags, so some of them are kind of like a guessing game, but I definitely had some of my bread and salt grow, and it was decent. It wasn't great because I think I was trying to grow it with my squash, and now as you can see I'm putting stuff in grow bags. And kind of what I've decided, walk with me for a minute now, when I was doing these grow bags, right, I was like, okay, two raised beds. So the 2 new raised beds that I haven't purchased yet are the 2 new raised beds. I'm telling you false information. The 2 8x4 raised beds that has my trellis. I use the one edge, the one long edge and one short edge for my peppers and tomatoes. And so anyway, back to the grow bags. I went ahead and I used my 20-gallon grow bags primarily for my smaller peppers, so I can put 2 pepper plants in them, thus taking up less space, but they'll grow. For example, the Tangerine Dream. I had put 2 peppers of those and another item, and those still grew pretty well. I will not be placing anything else with those 2 Tangerine Dream peppers, so they'll grow even bigger. And we got a really good harvest, especially for the size that they were. There was almost like, I feel like more peppers and leaves on there, which was really intense, or maybe the same amount. It was really nice. And there's a few tomato plants I'm putting in this, like the mushroom basket, the mortgage lifter, stuff like that, because I want to see the growth as well as how, like, how well the plants do from, like the tomatoes do from the grow bags to the raised beds. So the bread and salt, I'm growing that because it's a nice red slicer tomato that grew pretty well for me this past season. So I'm gonna give that about 4 to 5 plants. The next one is the mortgage lifter. So the mortgage lifter, I really didn't have the best, harvest with it, but that's okay. I still want to do 4 to 5 plants because I learned a lot when it came to starting plants before the last season, and I want to apply that this year or January, I guess. And I think it's going to help make my plants stronger and thus be able to harvest more. And people really love the mortgage lifter, and I want to give it that true opportunity to see if it's going to actually work for me. The next one is the Paul Robeson. That's one of those tomatoes I had a pretty dang good harvest from. They're also, it's like more of like a savory, really delicious, almost like, I guess, umami. People say umami. It's more like a savory than like a sweet flavor is essentially what I believe that they're trying to say. There are these beautiful like brown reddish type of tomato. So good, pretty decent size, and the harvest was pretty decent. I feel like the cusp of perfection is like a decently sized tomato with good harvest, and then like a small tomato that has an earlier and very big harvest. Like, you want to put in your garden, if given the opportunity, different types of tomato, not just varieties like, oh, I'm growing 6 slicing varieties. That's cute and that's fine, but you also want to grow like slicing, paste, cherry, or cherry and slicing. This way you're going to get things coming in faster. I feel like for the most part, cherry tomatoes are some of the fastest tomatoes you're going to get. And that's another conversation for another day, but I just want to throw it out there. The next one I have not grown in my garden, but I have a really good feeling about. It's the Bonnie Best. This looks like a medium tomato that's red, and it's meaty. People use it for canning. You obviously can use it for slicing. I want to really, like you see, I have 3 red tomatoes that I'm prioritizing 4 to 5 plants for, because I really want to attempt canning, and I want to attempt it with red tomatoes. I'm gonna do a bunch of stuff, but I want to really attempt canning, as well as I feel like some of the time I had issues with actually using some of the produce, right? So my purple potatoes, guys, I used like 5 of them, and the rest of them have grown like they've chitted. So I'll probably try to plant them next year, maybe. But I feel like I went to go use the purple potatoes, and I was like, jump scare, even though I thought they were so beautiful. So I'm gonna probably mostly just grow regular potatoes next year, if I even grow potatoes, because the potatoes is just so cheap. And if I'm gonna grow a potato I can just pick up in the grocery store, I feel like it doesn't make sense. I'm trying to grow varieties for the most part that I cannot in fact pick up in my grocery store, like not necessarily like the cherry ones per se, but like the bigger tomatoes. Like the grocery store has very basic average tomatoes, and I want to make sure I'm growing stuff that makes sense to me. Like, I would not, I think just from to Refuge said this, right? I feel like in the beginning of gardening, like when you're newer to gardening, in order to keep yourself going, you should try to just grow stuff that you can't just get at the store. Otherwise you might get discouraged, because gardening is easy and hard at the same time. It's fun and stressful at the same time, and to ensure that you're doing and you're going to continue doing it, it's just better to it's just better to make your life as easy as possible. And if that means that, okay, I got to grow some interesting varieties, do so, but don't do it at the expense of actually using it, if that makes any sense. So that's the Bonnie Best. The last one from the tomato top 5 varieties is the Dr. Weiss Yellow. That was also a really good tomato. That was a delicious tomato also to me. It's yellow. So I have here red, the brownish one, and then yellow, which is great. So I'm going to give that one a couple ones too. I want to see how stationary. One of the reasons I chose this, because I was this close to doing the Thorn Burns Terracotta instead, because I felt like They both did pretty good in my garden last year, but the color, I wanted a yellow. The Thornburn Terracotta is also an interesting color. It's almost like a bricky kind of color, but it lends into like the reddish, brownish realm. And I had one of those. I enjoyed the flavor of the Dr. Weiss. I thought the growing habit was pretty well. Guys, as a newer grower, I'm in like a garden second year, but in any type of growing situation, I grew in my apartment years ago. This is my third year technically of growing. And so I'm not the most, what's the word? Like, developed in starting seeds. And I just felt like the Dr. Weiss didn't really give me big issues, to be honest with you. So those are my tomato varieties that I will be getting 4 to 5 plants. And the peppers, the first one I wrote down was a Lesia orange. So I have the red and the orange Lesias. Now I'm putting those together, even though they're technically 2 different plants. It's the same variety. So I'm like, so what if it's a different color? I am very excited for the Lesia. The thick walls of the Lesia pepper is insane, and it's genuinely has a sweetness to it, and they're beautiful, and they grew so well for me this past year, and I want to grow it again, and I want to give it more opportunities to grow because I find the look of it very interesting because it's like tapered, so it grows up thicker at the top and then tapers down at the bottom. So, and I think those thick walls were insane to me. I didn't mind the thin walls, but I did at the end got my lilac bell harvest. It was a very small harvest because, you know, things happened. In one section where I planted it, it had gotten eaten by an animal, and then the other section it had gotten knocked over or whatever. So they came back, which was also impressive. But then I got a small harvest. So first of all, they were smaller peppers, and then the walls were so thin, and it threw me because I had been harvesting Lesia peppers all summer, and those walls are so thick. I've been talking too long about the Lesia, but it was one of my favorite ones. Like, that was not spicy. So that's the Lesia pepper. The next one is the Ozark Giant. I didn't have good luck with the Ozark Giant or the next one, and I'm still gonna try to grow these, and I want to give them 4 to 5 plants. So while I'm saying when I'm saying like 2 and 4 to 5, that you can just take a good guess about doubling those in seed starts. So for all the plants I'm gonna grow 2, I'm gonna grow 4 seeds, and for all the plants I'm gonna grow 4 to 5, I'm gonna grow 8 to 10. I want to make sure nothing dies, and with that, even with that number, just know it's going to probably be 1 or 2 in each section to truly give it the opportunity. When I say the next video I'm going to record is talking about growing times and what weeks I'm going to be growing into, and I just don't want to have to a week 7 to 10 days later be big annoyed because my giant crimson didn't pop up because I only planted 1 seed, and some of them popped up and some of them didn't, and I'm not getting the numbers I want to get. And also remember, if you're sitting there like, girl, doubling it is crazy, 1 or 2 extra would be fine because we're gonna do with these extra plants. I have people I can give these plants to, and I'm talking about these. I've talked about the 2 new raised beds I'll be adding to my garden. My best friend, basically, she's gonna let me put a raised bed on her property too. And I haven't even included that in these numbers because I'm not sure if I'm gonna get the raised bed. I feel like I will. But if I manage that and I fill that up, I will also plant some plants over there and then see how it does over there as well. And then my mother starts from me. I was like, Mom, what do you mean you're gonna go to the greenhouse garden place and pick up starts? What is it you're looking for? And then I gave her stuff, and she grew pretty well some of the stuff I gave her. So I'm gonna do that again this coming year. But anyway, that Ozark Giant, I'm gonna try again. I think beginner's error. And the next one I also didn't have the best was the Ajvarsky. I got left with, I think, 1 Ajvarsky plant that I put in my green stalk, which was not the best decision. Ajvarsky pepper is not, I would put something like a Jimmy Nardello in a green stalk. The Ajvarsky is a little bit bigger, and I feel like the plant needs a little bit more soil space, and I gave the rest of mine away in a plant swap, and I was very sad after the fact I did it, and I'd be interested to know how that plant did for them, because they were pretty sturdy plants that I grew from that one. So I'm gonna try that, and I'm putting them let's see, I'll tell you exactly what I intended. Obviously, I'm going to put a couple in a raised bed, but in the grow bags, I have my Edgevarskis. See, and I'm doing this again. So I have the 2 Edgevarskis in my, I have 1 Edgevarsky in a 5-gallon and 1 Edgevarsky in another 5-gallon, because I kept hearing like, oh, your smaller peppers, you can grow in a 3-gallon. And then for some reason, people skip the 5-gallon and then go to the 7-gallon. I have no 7-gallon grow bags. Does that mean I wouldn't pick up? I mean, grow bags are like $20 for like 5 to 10. So I'm not really like stressing it. I could if I wanted to, but as of right now, oh no. And then I have an Edgevarsky in a 10-gallon. Yeah, I'm gonna grow like a good amount of those because I keep hearing some really good stuff about it. So I want to grow those too. And those are another sweet pepper but it's like longer and skinnier. And so I want to grow that. The next one is a yellow monster. I also gave away a couple yellow monsters and I only had 1, and I think I put it in the green stock and it didn't grow that well. I am not playing with yellow monster this year. 10 seeds, 15, whatever the amount of seeds I have left of the yellow monster. Truth be told, I just figured out the varieties I definitely want to grow more of. So either tonight or tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and look at the number of seeds I have left. Guys, do not play with your life. Do not play with your garden, I should say. And because you have the packet and there's some seeds in there, be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to start 6. And you have 4 seeds in there and you didn't check. You're going to be big mad. So check your seeds. The yellow monsters look huge. I have really nothing else to add. I want big peppers. I don't mind some small peppers, and I think I'm gonna get a snacking pepper or the small bell peppers from Johnny's, or I don't think I saw any on my garden, otherwise I'd go there. But Johnny's or Baker's Creek. One of those 2, they both have either the small bell pepper or, you know, that. So I'm gonna pick up those 2 so I can get like the snacking peppers and stuff. But I definitely want to grow big peppers. And then the last one is a tangerine dream, because I had such good like results just from those 2 that I had planted in the 20-gallon grow bag. I'm like, I need to just throw them all over the place, and then that's something easy to pick. And they were delicious. They were delicious. They were like they were definitely a little sweet. They were really nice, and I like that they were orange. So I have here red peppers, green peppers, yellow peppers, orange peppers. And I think that's great because it's just multiple colors. I really would, I want to add a brown sweet pepper here, because I'm buying a sweet pepper seed. But I think what I'm going to end up doing is I saw a small chocolate bell peppers in one of those 2 websites I was just telling you about. And so I'll probably just put that in my grain stock, and then I don't even have to worry about adding it to my number for these particular peppers and tomato varieties. But I'm not playing. I really want to harvest, and I want to start seeing interesting, like good size harvest. I have a little, it's like this big, and then it has handles, basket, and I want to be filling that up. And then I believe in order to really get that, you need to have some like varieties that come around the same time, right? So if I have 4 to 5 plants of Lecia, and then when I'm picking those Lecias, instead of getting 2 or 4, right, because they're ripen, you know, at different times across the plant, I'm now picking 2 or 4 across 5 plants, right? Like let's say 4 across 5 plants, that's 20 peppers, right? And then Ozark Giant might be the following week or the week after that. And now I'm in a constant rotation because all of these peppers and tomatoes have different maturity dates. So I'm starting them around the same time, so they're all gonna come to fruition at different times. And I think that's fabulous. And when I start my tomatoes and peppers, I'm doing it in 2-week span. So I'm doing it 1 week early and then doing it the week that actually makes sense. And then I'm going to go from there. I really don't want to start anything too late because the plants did get big, which is why I said only 1 week early. And there is one thing I'm going to ignore for that. There's 2 things I'm going to ignore for that particular rule, but that's just small varieties. So, and I'll tell you guys about that later. But yeah, those are the ones I want to give extra plants to. Are you guys growing the same exact amount of plants for all of your pepper and tomato plants? If not, let me know what varieties down below, like basically the varieties you're prioritizing. Because I know online, like there's a bunch of people that love the Amish paste and will grow like 10 to 15 plants of just the Amish paste. And I think once I really hone in on what I really like and what really grows in my yard, and I will be buying those little snack baggies that are like very, very tiny holes to to preserve my own seeds and know that they didn't like mixed with anything, I'm definitely gonna do that. But yeah, let's talk about what you're prioritizing variety wise in your garden, like you're growing more plants of, because I'd be interested to hear and why. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this whole video. Hope to see you in my next one. Bye bye.